Hello, my name is Chris Gusty and this is my Apple video blog. Apple is an extremely innovative company. Steve Jobs co-founded the computer company in 1976 with some friends out of his garage. Apple exemplifies the entrepreneurial spirit. I've been using Apple products since I was a kid. I remember Apple products being somewhat of a status symbol. Everyone wanted an iPod when it first came out. My first Apple product was actually the iPod Touch in high school. It was such an amazing experience. This was the first time a company had introduced a touchscreen device as intricate and exciting as the Touch, and everyone wanted to use it. Apple is so special because of products like these. It's able to create such a strong buzz around its products when they're first released. I experienced the same feeling when I got my first iPod. I was hooked on Apple immediately. Since my first iPod, I now have an iPhone, a MacBook, and an iPad. What interests me most about Apple products are their sleek design and functionality. Apple products look cool. They have a unique style to them. However, they also provide an excellent service and an excellent user experience. Personally, I think the iOS is a much better software system than Windows. My Mac is intuitive. From the notes to the widgets to the applications, there are a lot of practical uses to the operating system. This is what Steve Jobs and Apple had in mind when creating the Mac. Apple's philosophy has always been to provide computers that complement their users. The computer should be tools to help users get their ideas across easily and efficiently, and the iOS and OS X allow me to do just that. Unlike a lot of computers like IBM back in the day, they wanted to automate the process and take users out of the experience. But my Mac really gives me the control and lets me do whatever I want with it. The iPhone provides a similar experience. It's so easy to use with apps that are easily accessible and perform almost any task that I can imagine. I'm always on my iPhone, whether that's reading the news, talking to friends, or playing games. My iPhone feels like an extension of myself, and that's thanks to the innovative design of the phone and its software. You can basically do anything you want with an iPhone, and every product since the iPhone 3G first came out, to the iPhone 4, to the iPhone 4S, and now the 5 and 5C, has offered that same intricate user experience. In regards to Apple's styling and the mix of its products, I think Apple did a great job sticking to their core product development ideals. Apple's product development follows a platform strategy, where a group of products all have similar characteristics, but they're all unique in their own certain aspects. One example of this is, like I just said, the iPhones. From the iPhone 3G, which was the first phone that had a touchscreen, it had the same type of touchscreen as the iPod Touch, and it had a similar user experience to that iPod Touch. And then the iPod Touch, all the generations after the initial were very similar. Then after the iPhone, after the iPod, introduced the iPad. And the iPad was the same sort of platform as far as the software that was introduced, the type of structure that, this type of design that was offered in the product. The difference was basically the size and some of the functionality as far as the cameras, the storage, what could be done with it, and what the main applications were meant to be. But all these applications really stress the user interface and the user experience. And that's one thing that set Apple apart innovatively from a Dell, a Gateway, or an IBM. And I think that's why I love Apple products so much, is because the experience really is something that they seek out for to help the user. I think that's a smart way for Apple to develop products using this platform technology, because they can save a lot of their software and use it redistributed across different products. That's similar with the iMacs. A lot of the different Macs, whether it be the iMac, the MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, they all use a similar strategy, a similar platform, just like all the handheld devices and consumer electronics. So I think that's a very smart way for Apple to save money and save time, and it's a way for users to be sort of in touch with what they're using. Even if it's a new product, you have experience using the old product or something like that. So in conclusion, I'm very pro Apple. I think that the products they give out are interesting. They pretty much change how innovation is thought of. They change how consumer electronic design is. Like, all the phones now are similar to the initial iPhone. All the tablets now are similar to the initial iPad, and they really are changing the way people interact with technology. So I love my Mac, I love my iPhone, and I think the operating system, the OS X, the iOS software, really complements the user experience. So thank you. That's my video blog.